In the Sumy region, a Russian attack drone discovered two Ukrainian soldiers during reconnaissance. He slowly approached them and saluted. Impressive footage of a tank firing directly into the city. Rare footage from this period, when the attackers were supported by tanks, not UAVs. Here is the work of the crew of a T-72B3M tank of the Center Troop Group in the Pokrovsk direction. It enters populated areas, destroys strongholds and Bala checkpoints, helps the armed forces of Ukraine to capture positions. A Russian tank in the direction of Zaporizhzhia gives way to infantry in a minefield. The vehicle continued its movement after withstanding 3 hits and 2 mine hits. The Russian drone operator flew into the enemy's underground bunker and hit a stronghold with at least 3 AFU soldiers.
Don't forget to leave your opinion about the video in the comments, subscribe, and like.
Да, по готовности огонь.
The Russian Defense Ministry reported that Lancet barrage ammunition destroyed an American M-777 Howitzer and a Bodana self-propelled artillery unit of the AFU on the right bank of the Dnieper River in the Kherson region. Zaporizhzhia direction. In the Plavny area, the assault groups of the airborne forces continue their work. Also, UAV operators of the armed forces of Russia are working on the destruction of bunkers and positions of the Ukrainian forces. Here, lightly armed assault groups come and clean every house. Don't forget to join our Telegram group. Destruction of a reconnaissance vehicle of the 144th Air Force Base near the village of Losivka in the Chernigov region using the Lancet UAV. Friends, you can both support us and get early access to videos with YouTube Join subscription. Don't forget to support us by joining our channel. Footage of how the village of Pyatikhatki, Zaporizhzhia direction, was liberated. Novorossiysk paratroopers destroyed the basements of the Ukrainian armed forces. Then they hit every point where the infantry changed positions. The Ukrainian force constantly changed positions but could not escape the drones. Then a group of Russian forces organized operations against the houses where the Ukrainian forces were located. The air and ground operations were successful, and the security of the region was ensured. South Donetsk direction. The FH-77 BWL-52 Swedish Archer self-propelled howitzer and two S-22 Bodana were destroyed by the powerful strike of Lancet's UAV. The position of a group of Ukrainian armed forces hiding in a bunker on the western outskirts of Popovka was detected. Two Russian soldiers came extremely close to the bunker and threw grenades into the bunker at close range. Then they opened fire from small arms into the bunker. The Russian armed forces stormed the bunker of the Ukrainian armed forces and captured two Ukrainian soldiers. First, grenades were thrown into the bunker, and then rifles were fired into the bunker. In this way, they surrounded the soldiers in the bunker and forced them to surrender. The Ukrainian soldiers realized that their lives were precious and surrendered because they had no other option. Russian soldiers evacuated the surrendered Ukrainian soldiers from the area safely. If they had any wounds, they treated them. North of Chasev Yar, Ukrainian soldiers hid in a dilapidated building during combat operations. Believing that they were unnoticed, the soldiers tried to take cover among the concrete ruins. Before the Russians launched the operation, they offered the Ukrainian soldiers to surrender and save their lives. A Ukrainian soldier responded to the call and left the basement with his hands raised. A few minutes later, a Russian drone hit the building and the basement collapsed. This is what happened. Soldiers of the 120th Artillery Brigade detected the movement of a group of soldiers who took shelter in the basement of a destroyed house, thinking that they would be protected from an FPV attack by putting a door at the entrance. Reconnaissance drones followed them for a while. Once the soldiers' shelter was confirmed, the coordinates were quickly reported to the two S-19 M-777 self-propelled howitzer. This howitzer, with a 152mm 2A64 gun, blew up the bunker in the Pokrovsk direction. The soldiers were expecting a FPV drone attack, but unexpectedly faced a howitzer attack. The 810th Marines destroy equipment of the Ukrainian armed forces in Gorno-Kursk region. Russian fighters are driving Ukrainian troops away from important fortified positions near the village. Footage of UAV operators of the Southern Forces Group destroying a Ukrainian armed forces stronghold near the Toretsk region. According to reports, 5 Ukrainian fighters were trapped under the rubble of the house during the explosion. Russian UAV operators in the Sumy region found 5 Kozak armored personnel carriers in an underground garage of the Ukrainian armed forces near Novaya Pisarevka. The 5 armored vehicles were then destroyed in the garage by Russian FPV drones. In a small section of the front line near the border village in the Sumy region, near the Russian border, a Russian FPV drone hit the 4-wheeled ATV vehicle of the Ukrainian armed forces hard. UAV operators of the 238th Artillery Brigade's Assault and Reconnaissance Division successfully used the Lancet kamikaze drone as part of battery operations against another Ukrainian mortar formation. As a result of a precise fire attack, the Ukrainian position was eliminated. Russian Air Force aviation struck the Ukrainian defense center in the village of Yampol with FAB bombs. First Armored Army operators shot down a Ukrainian pickup truck. A UAV crew shot a Ukrainian logistics transport vehicle several times before setting the vehicle on fire with an incendiary shell. Western outskirts of Donetsk, Marinka, Druzhba Boulevard, May 2025. In the Pokrovsk direction, a Ukrainian hut with electronic devices was hit. There is no information on whether there were personnel inside the hut. It was reported that there were many antennas and electronic devices in the hut. Possibly these could be UAV equipment. Ukraine's 141st Air Force Base was hit by an FAB 3000 airstrike. Dnepropetrovsk region. This is how a Russian FPV drone hit a vehicle with Ukrainian armed forces personnel. Sumy region. During the Russian FPV drone strikes, 120mm air cannon was destroyed, and also 2 T-64 tanks were destroyed. Don't forget to join our Telegram group. Konstantinovsky direction. The 33rd Motorized Rifle Regiment of the 20th Guards Motorized Rifle Division is targeting Ukrainian forces with fiber optic drones. Footage from several days of attacks has been compiled into this 2-minute clip.